Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Eruption, You Really Got Me by Van Halen. This is the second Van Halen reaction on the channel so far. The first one was To Run In With the Devil. That one was posted not too long ago, and it was the first place winner for songs by Van Halen that you all voted on and chose for me to react to here. This one, and it was both of these together for some reason, Eruption / You Really Got Me, came in second. So I'm doing them together. I think they can be done separately, but I'm just going to do them together. That's what everyone recommended. And I'm really looking forward to it. I do know Van Halen just a little bit because I was around in the 80s and listening to a little bit of music like late 80s, early 90s, but I didn't really get to know these guys very much. I kind of knew them just through pop culture in general. I might recognize one or two of their songs, but what I've heard so far, I haven't really recognized. And it was from the 70s, so this one too. These two songs are one song together here. From 1978. So again, I'm learning a lot here. Had fun with the first one, Running with the Devil. Very creative and talented singing and playing in there, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. We're also going to take a look at this music though, because I am a professional classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we take a look at all of the things about this music, like how it was composed, the instrumentation, maybe some music theory or form analysis, sometimes some instrument demos, and also how do we relate to this music? Why might we like it, or why might we not like it? Oh, and we have merch. Don't forget, you can check out merch. It's over on Bonfire. You can find links below in the description here. So, okay, enough of that. Enough delay. Let's listen. Okay, here we go. Okay, I hate to stop in what seems like a guitar solo. Is the whole thing a guitar solo? Okay, if so, I apologize. I hope that's a good stopping place. Ooh, okay. That was something. And we're like only halfway through. I'm assuming that's Eddie Van Halen? And again, I'm still getting to know this band. So I know Dave Lee Roth, and I know that Eddie Van Halen plays the guitar. So I'm assuming that's him. I don't know who does the drums, so fill me in on that. I want to get to know all of the band members. Okay, so start out with some percussion, kind of gave us the platform and the spotlight in which for the guitar to jump in there. That was some pretty virtuosic playing. So I have studied, for instance, the violin for many, many, many years. I have multiple college degrees in performance in learning how to play the instrument as well as I can. And in doing so, I get to know all of the little specific ways that that particular instrument can be used virtuosically. So when I'm hearing other instruments being used, I'm trying to imagine what techniques it might take to be able to play those instruments in that manner. What things are considered at a higher level and what things are more easy. And sometimes, you know what, you just can't tell. There are always things that a virtuosic player, a professional level player of an instrument will do that it's really easy for them and it just sounds hard, and hey, why not? It's okay if that happens every now and then. Sometimes it's the opposite. There are things that are really, really difficult to play and it sounds super easy. But you know what? Sometimes you know that that's when you're really good at playing an instrument, is when you make it look easy and you can actually play anything on the instrument that you wish. So I am still sort of learning the breadth of the technique of electric guitar. I can absolutely imagine what some of those things are, just with how you have to use your fingers and the positions and everything, because, that is kind of the same for a string instrument. It's just there's no bow, except that you can use a bow on an electric guitar, but you know what I mean. So there were a couple of things that I was able to hear right away that definitely, I know it takes a lot of time and coordination and practice and experience to be able to get things to sound coordinated, as in left to right hand coordinated. You have to put the fingers down and pluck the strings at the same time. Otherwise it sounds off. And his playing is very, very clean. Then there's just the agility of the fingers, the dee 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 dee. So what I'm singing there was just like a little typical instrumental etude, like it's in the Kreutzer book for string instruments. For those of you that play the violin, you'll know what that book is. It's a book of etudes. So I'm hearing all of this stuff. I'm hearing those nods. I'm catching on to the little Easter eggs and trying to speak his language while not being completely fluent. I am impressed, though, I have to say. So I'm going to back this up because I want to hear a little bit more of this interesting transition. We kind of went up and then back down, and it almost is like using a bow. It's very smooth and all the way up. But I don't know what he's utilizing on the instrument to make all those sounds. I don't know how difficult it is. If you know, let me know in the comments, because I do want to learn about this. Would I ever try it someday? Maybe. Try it myself. Anyway, let's go back a bit and continue on. Okay, so apparently this goes directly, it segues into You Really Got Me. So I'm going to go directly into that in just a moment. Right now I have it pulled up as two separate tracks, but I have to stop and talk about that just a little tiny bit. I won't talk as much as I did last time, because I really want to get on to the next part of this. I'm very curious as to where this is going. Okay, yeah, very virtuosic. Very reminiscent of a lot of classical works. So I heard chord progressions and sequences and things like that. Sort of a rubato, which means you push and pull, things get a little faster and a little slower, and you just add musicality to it. Things that we as classical musicians, especially string players, we will play just like that. And it's just a slightly different technique because the strings act a little bit differently on that. And I will go back and sort of demonstrate and see some differences because it is interesting. But I can absolutely see what he's doing there a little bit, and I know what it takes to do it, and I'm very impressed. Also, all of the different timbres, the different quality of sounds that were happening, like that more scratchy sound towards the end. It was really, really cool. Okay, but why is this called Eruption, and why? I mean, is it the intensity? Is it just how it's sort of this eruption of sound? And how is it going to segue into this next track? Okay, well, enough guesswork. Let's actually listen.
Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I...
Okay, do I already know this song? Is this a cover? Yeah, I know this song. I don't know who did it though. Is it that you really got me, right? Isn't that it? I think that's it. Was that 60s? Or was it 50s? I think it'd be more 60s, I think. But I don't know who did that song. Or was it early 70s? Oh, no. Okay. All right. Well, here are the gaps in my knowledge of rock that I'm here to fill. If it was a classical piece, I could sort of tell you where it fit into that timeline. But with this, I'm still learning. Okay. I was not expecting a cover. And now it really does make me want to go back and listen to the original, because from what I like, this is just really different, and my brain is sort of saying like it's right, but it's not quite right, So they're obviously really putting their own sound to this, which is a really neat idea. Depending on how earlier on, like how many years has it been since the original was done? Because whatever that answer is, however many years it's been, they are really showcasing their aesthetic, their sound. Really cool. All right, let's just keep going.
I don't know where I'm going, yeah. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can see that now. You really got me. Oh, you really got me. Oh, you really got me. Please don't ever let me be. I only wanna be by your side. Please don't ever let me be. I only wanna be by your side.
Okay, I'll back this up and listen to some of this again. This is really interesting. Okay, well, I heard the bass. I don't mean to leave the bassist out. I finally heard that. Actually, maybe, yeah, that the bass was definitely more like in your face for Running with the Devil. But here, this is the first time that I was aware that I was hearing the bass. It's been there the whole time, yes, of course. But sometimes that's okay to not be in the forefront. If it lends itself to the final product of the song that you're trying to present, of this creative item, then it's worth it to sort of take your place in the group. So in this one, I feel like up to this point anyway, I didn't notice the bass as much. I heard a couple of drum riffs, so it's mainly the lead guitar and the vocalist. So what is really interesting there is that they're fooling me a little bit. Some of the noises I'm hearing coming from the vocals sounds like a guitar. And I love it when voices sort of bend and cross over into other territory and kind of fool you a little bit. I like that. Keeps you guessing, makes you really pay attention. Okay, and then we heard another fantastic guitar solo. So I think I really am starting to recognize his style of playing. And I think I mentioned this in Running with the Devil, that apparently there's a story where he was like walking by and he came in and played on Beat It, right? For Michael Jackson. And I know that song. I've known that one for years. And And so I recognize some of the stylistic choices here in his playing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was him. Definitely was him. So this is really fun because I do have a tiny point of reference here. All right. Awesome solo. What in the heck was just happening there at the end? Again, it was some more of that fooling us. What's the guitar squeals and the vocal squeals? Really, really cool. They've got to be doing that on purpose, right? That's not just like a random vocal technique that he came up with later or on his own and just like, no. They've got to be playing with us there. Or was that him? Because you know, there's an entire vocal chorus. Are they also doing that? Well, okay. I'm backing up here and we're going to see if we can tell.
Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. Oh yeah, you really got me now. Got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. Oh, you really got me. Oh.
Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was more than just one person doing those interesting vocal noises. Unless it was one person just like recorded over the top, but then how would they do that live? You know what I mean? No, it sounded like it was like a mix of all of them. That was really, really cool. Completely turned. Okay, so the chorus, the vocal chorus was like really straightforward, kind of straight-laced almost, really in tune, very chorus-like. And then the fact that we took the chorus and then featured them making all those noises. Ooh. And then, of course, there's always suggestion behind that little section there, some of those noises. And that just kind of adds to the story, makes it more interesting, makes it more fun. And you can tell they're just having a good time. This would be awesome to see performed live. In fact, so would the Eruption solo. So, okay. I think I caught most of the words and I kind of know them a little bit from the previous song. So I think I'm cool there. But I really just want to focus on all of the sound effects that these guys were able to do. And right to the bitter end, all the way up to, you know, the drums and then that little lead out with the bass. There were no empty moments. It was really, really well balanced. But I do feel that little ending there is sort of a little bit of a common theme, as in there were a few moments, including in Eruption, where the sound would kind of like go up and then down and kind of like disappear. And so let's just listen to that. It was just a cool musical gesture. Let's hear it at the end. Just that right there. I don't know. To me, it made sense. Now let's back it up into some of the solo part. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. So this one is kind of choppy, but it's sort of the same idea. See, it going downward like that. And the ch-ch-ch-ch, that's so creative. That's so creative. Using those overtone squeals of a voice. Listen to that, y'all. Okay, I didn't mean to lose track of the other detail I was saying, though. There was that really big moment, in Eruption that the tone went down. So I think you all get what I'm saying there, but I have to highlight this little chorus spotlight. Funny little moment. And even that's like the there. Love it. Oh, they're just getting silly. The guitar's in there. I'm sorry. They're really having fun with that. And how the guitar was in there. So previously the guitar was wailing all around, and then we would hear the vocalist kind of add a little interjection that kind of sounded like a guitar, and now it's kind of the opposite. We're hearing all of the vocalists doing that, and then the guitar is the one that interjects in there. That's really cool. This is just even all the way, like the vocal percussion, like all the way to the which completely it's so creative. I love this. So speaking of the aesthetic, so what I was saying about there being a cover, and then this group comes in and very confidently restates this song in their own sound. The part that sort of stood out to me is where the guitar does this.
Please don't ever let me
There.
be. I only want to be by your side.
Okay. So you hear the bass, but you also hear the electric guitar in there, and it's that really rough that sound to it. To me, that is like solidly 70s and 80s hard rock sound, and I don't remember that being in the original. I mean, I don't know the original like super well. I've not sat down to listen to it individually, but I definitely know the sound, and it doesn't have that. So that is sort of the aesthetic that these guys are bringing to it. Really, really neat. Okay, so I'd like to go back and now just take a quick look at Eruption. So let's see how it started. It's been a while. Let's hear how it started out. Yeah, it really set up that little foundation. There's the spotlight through the drums. And there's some of that bending. Yeah. It's not quite a vibrato there, but it's more like an ornamentation. This the more I hear it, the more it really is drawn from classical music. But you know what? That is kind of an established language here, so that makes sense that that's going to happen. But do you hear the coordination that it takes? Every time you put down a finger or move a finger, and then you have to pluck the string, it has to be done at the same time, otherwise the sound gets interrupted. And so my ear is very, very much trained to listen for that. And I don't hear it too much here. And when I do, it's part of the overall sound, because all of the scratchiness and everything, the transitions from note to note, section to section, is kind of part of the sound. It's welcomed. And so I am hearing some of those discrepancies, but I believe it's part of it. So let's just go back and I'll point out one of those little spots. There. Bop, 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 bop. That right there. Bop, 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 bop. If that's not done in a coordinated manner, instead of hearing bop, 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 you're going to hear ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. It's not going to be together. It's going to sound a little bit messy and not intentionally so. And I also do hear a little bit of vibrato that passes by, a couple of wiggles of actual controlled vibrato that goes by. But then the ba, that's not vibrato. That's more like a grace note or an ornamentation. Let's hear that part again. Yeah. So there was the bass right there. Okay, but this. Okay, and so I'm assuming that That comes from the right hand, I believe. And that takes a lot of control from that hand. And then the all of that with the left hand. That left hand has to know exactly where to go. Luckily, the guitar does have frets on it, whereas the violin does not. So to me, that seemed like playing the Kreutzer Etude, but with a tremolo and not aiming for a clear tone. He, purposely kind of making the tone go scratchy and into overtones. So let me demonstrate. Okay, so the original Etude, I think, is... And that's more of what I'm hearing him do there. Let's listen to it. I think it was in a different key, though. Yeah, so usually when we use that, E flat. Usually when we play that, we're trying to have as clear a tone and be as in tune as possible. So but what he's doing is kind of messing with it. And it's so messy that it almost makes it hard to tell if it's clean or not. And then that sort of becomes the cleanliness of it, if that makes sense. All right, let's just keep going. Whew. Okay, now we're doing this a little bit more. Interesting. Such interesting tones. Okay, so what I'm hearing there is more like a trill, which is just, so you go from one note and you just play the next note with this. You leave the first finger that you had down, you leave it down, and then you just put down and pick up the next note. That's sort of what I'm hearing there. And so I can imagine what that takes to do. But then there are other things that come up. Okay. I love this chord progression. I love that little stepwise down. Okay. Okay, that right there sounds like it has Baroque structure from the Baroque era in classical music. And then that technique right there is not as easy to do on a string instrument like that. Something like that. So I can sort of do it because I can pull the bow and then just, have the sounds. But that's not the same that happens with the electric guitar because it is struck, it's plucked. And then it's the resonance of that and the contact with the left hand. See, it's just a slightly different approach to the sound production than what I'm used to. And it is a little easier for an electric guitar to produce those chords like that. It takes a lot for a string instrument to be able to do that and do it evenly and then have a really good tone production. So I'm not belittling what he's doing. It's still really, really great. But I think it is a little bit easier, which is why he's doing it. Okay, but let's continue on. Okay, and now we're just messing with different tones. How does he do that? It's so cool. It's so cool, and it's a little rugged. String instruments do have to play like that occasionally. I've mentioned this on the channel in the past, but we try to play where we put the bow directly between here and here. This is the bridge and this is the fingerboard, and we want to have it sort of like halfway in the middle. If we get too far over here, that's called sul tasto, and it gets really airy sounding and more gentle, more delicate sort of. But then if we get too close to the bridge, that's called sul ponticello, and that really kind of makes that sort of rugged sound. So if we have this, that's a nice clear sound over here. So tosto, a little bit lighter, but here, do you hear that? So that's sort of the best that I can do as far as creating that sound like that. So I know how to do it for this instrument, but not for his. And I am very curious to find out. So if you happen to know, let me know. Okay, that was Eruption, You Really Got Me by Van Halen. Excellent second place winner here for this poll. And sort of continued on my admiration of their creativity from Runnin' with the Devil. I have to admit that I would not have guessed someday that I would be looking into hard rock music like this and being able to see these details, taking the time to see these details. But they're there, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun to witness musicians and their virtuosic talents, and also to think about how great it was for all of the fans to listen to this music. Now I see what Bill and Ted were talking about in their excellent adventure. So at this point, this is just me sort of getting to know this band a little bit better, to understand what they're communicating, understand how much fun they're having. They don't take themselves too seriously, but at the same time, they do as far as the music production. So I think that's the professionalism that I'm really admiring right here. And it's a lot of fun. So I'm not sure what came in third. I do try to do at least the top 3 of the polls. There is also the possibility that I could do a full album reaction. This actually is on my short list for albums that I might do in the near future. But really, I'm just fascinated at the fact that this was 1978. I would have guessed it was 1988. But, you know, I'm learning something new every day. These guys were definitely ahead of their time. Okay, so thanks for coming along with me for this one. I very much enjoyed it. It's absolutely going to go on my playlist. I'm getting more and more of a collection of hard rock music here, so that's kind of exciting. And I think I would like to maybe take a deeper dive into Eruption at some point. Maybe learn some of the licks for violin, play along a little bit, and also see it performed live. That would be great. So stay tuned for something along those lines at some point in the future on the channel. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay. And keep listening.